In a world where there seems to be a growing sense of insecurity about the future, whether it be about technological innovation making jobs redundant, climate change, or differing cultural ways of life, education is seen as key to being able to help future generations navigate the global sustainability challenges of the future. Many educational futurists suggest that students need to be taught ways of thinking and relating that can critically challenge institutional and cultural axioms, so that new creative ways of engaging with sustainability issues can emerge. Educator and futurist Marcus Bussey sees the role of futurists as being to work with processes that destabilise everybody's conditioned response to reality. This can help facilitate the understanding that there are many possibilities inherent to every system for its own disruption and therefore its own evolution. These statements are not dissimilar to Freire's application of critical theory in education, where students are empowered through identifying and challenging institutional oppression. This progressive view is not without its critics. A liberal arts curriculum, for example, could become just as oppressive as the traditional 3 R's curriculum when mandates are made by those in power about what is important for all people to learn, as this will inevitably discriminate against certain groups of people who do not fit these generalisations. Great thinkers have always wrestled with whether education should be standardised and whether it should serve the individual or the state. Plato, in The Republic, attempted to paint a picture of an ideal relationship between student and state. Different studies would be undertaken based on if one was judged to be a producer, an auxiliary, or a guardian. Despite the egalitarian ideal of education for all, Plato still put the power to decide who should learn what in the hands of a privileged few. So when it comes to discussing education to aid global sustainability, one must examine power brokers' changing ideas over time about sustainability and education. During the Spartan Empire, Spartan men entered the agoge. Skills and virtues were taught, including courage, loyalty to the group and to the state, weapons use, fighting, athletics, pain tolerance, survival and endurance. Girls were also trained to be strong and competitive, as they were to be the mothers of future Spartan warriors. Education was based on fierce competition and survival of the fittest, as expansion and control of their empire was thought to be the key to Spartan sustainability. In classical Athens, education was not only influenced by the need to create strong warriors, but by the need to sustain peace and order amongst the various city-states under their control. Political debates, sports, civic festivals, poetry, and theatre served as informal public education that bolstered pride in the state and reinforced the virtues of the empire. In contrast to Sparta, the sustainability of the Athenian hegemony was achieved not only through military force, but also through democracy and the artistic expression of shared moral and civic virtues. Both of these differing approaches to human sustainability had different educational and practical means, one being militaristic and one democratic, but the same ends, which was the inevitable flourishing of one particular civilization over others. As nations grew in size, as the world became more connected via trade and technology, and as science discovered more about the human effect on the planet, so did the need for thinking more inclusively about the future of humankind. Science is now showing that humans will need to conserve in many areas, particularly in the areas of consumption of fossil fuels, rather than expand, for life to be sustainable. This is challenging to countries and governments who still rely on these commodities for a healthy economy. It is also challenging to big business and capitalism in general, as present economic systems require expansion and competition for sustainability. This tension between the need to conserve and the need to expand is one present challenge educational institutions may have to prepare students to face, though this is not a new tension. Plato wrote about the possible consequences of the degradation of land due to farming and mining, but radical ideas are rarely accepted by those in power in times of social and political instability. Plato's teacher, Socrates, was executed for introducing new deities. So when examining ideas about education and sustainability over time, one may begin to see that history repeats itself. Expansionist, imperialistic forms of power have viewed sustainability as survival of the fittest, whether that be an ancient empire, a multinational company, or the foreign policy of a particular country. Alternatively, a more progressive form of power may seek to create a sustainable world through global citizenship and democracy. Here, sustainability moves from being about one group's thriving towards a compromise between groups. Presently, With increasing evidence of the effects of climate change, sustainability has shifted from being about one group's survival over another to working together towards the survival of the planet. Marcus Bussey suggests that before formal education can prepare people to meet this challenge, change must start in one's own mind, an educational process of knowing thyself, as Socrates put it, by challenging one's own internalized cultural and institutional axioms. These axioms could include a leaning towards control or compliance, such as, they had the cane when I was at school and we didn't have discipline problems like they do these days. Or progressive ideologies such as, all children must be taught to question authority. By endeavouring to see more clearly these assumptions, there may be the potential for new educational forms to emerge beyond the old Spartan-like narratives, allowing people to work collaboratively to create a sustainable future for everyone.